saying loans are very important if you want to grow in any business whatsoever. However,
if I tell you the number of ideas I have in this head of mine, na wana biashara kama 20. We are Walk the Talk, where we talk about conversations that are life-changing and amazing. And today I have my friend.
Hi guys. Hi guys.
It comes with the camera. Hi guys. It's a millennial thing.
Right.
Yes. So I have Paris. Paris, introduce yourself and what you do.
All right. So my name is Paris, or some people call me Wanjiro. A co-founder, Finewood Interiors and Construction. And Victoria has been my friend for quite some time. This girl is a genius. Nilikuwa namwambia na need kuprotectiwa.
So I've known Paris for quite some time also. Kwa modern African woman.
Yes.
Whether you still have that business?
I do, but I kind of put that on hold.
To concentrate on big money.
Yes, to concentrate
on big money.
Right.
Yes. So we start. So talking of money, they say cash flow is the bloodline of business.
For sure.
Okay. I want to know your one tip on how you maintain cash flow, considering your business Finewood Interiors is a big money business. Sisi anyia mwongei biashara ya 1000 na 1500.
Oh, si choche sana. Okay, ni ukweli, but still. So I think one of the things I run it together with my husband. So one of the biggest ways we've managed to maintain cash flow is identifying each other's strength. He is not so good with money. I am good with money. So guess who gets to manage it? I do. And that way, we are able to plan it better. So that is one of the biggest things that has really helped us.
Yes.
You?
I think for me, I'm a money manager for sure. I am a money manager, but also I'm very good at calculations in my head.
Right.
Not calculations at chini. I think I find myself doing if 1 + 1 is like this. So for example, when it comes to taking things like loans, I usually do very calculated moves because I feel like I cherish I cherish the cash flow.
Right.
Yes, but the other day I mentioned to you I like buying stock. Napenda kununua stock. Napenda ku overstock. But how are you able to maintain, because cash flow is messed up with sometimes suppliers and debtors and delays, especially because you're in construction. How are you able to maintain that?
Okay. So, of course, every day we learn.
Yes.
And what we have learned over time, because we've been there for the last 5-6 years now, for clients, they need to pay the money upfront, because initially what we used to do is that you finance maybe part of the project, but you realize once the project is done, the client goes missing. The money goes missing.
Yes.
So one of the things we've had to do, especially now with construction, because it's demanding, and sometimes you look at the figures and you think all of it is your money, no? Or the clients look at it and they're like, it's a lot of money, but you realize faida maybe ni kidogo.
Yes.
So one of the things we've had to be very strict with our clients is at least 80% of the deposit is paid before we start. So that way we are not tight on cash, and I don't have to use maybe your money from your project to finance somebody else's project. So, but that has been something we've had to learn over time.
Curious to know, do you guys pay yourself salaries? Because niliongea mambo ya salary, mtu akasema this is easier said than done.
Right.
Yes.
Well, to be very honest, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Because for any business, so what normally happens, you prioritize other people first. You prioritize them, so we end up paying ourselves last, and sometimes we don't, because we are still in that growth stage where the business is demanding more. Sometimes you actually have to give it more than you're taking from it. Yeah. So sometimes yes and no, depending on how the months are, which is not very healthy.
Yes. Yes. Okay, and I think people don't understand that being in business, in other words, mtu anahuanga amesota.
Okay.
You see, there are months unakosa cash flow kabisa.
Proper.
Unakosa, you lack salaries for sure. There are months you lack salary. What would you say? Because I believe that money is behavior. That is one thing I believe.
Yeah.
It's more than math. It's more of behavior. So I keep wondering, and I keep wondering, sisi hatukopeshani. Okay? Because that is the biggest issue with cash flow.
Right.
What is eating the businesses when it comes to cash flow? What do you think is the problem from the back of your mind?
Okay. So what is eating, should I generalize it, or even maybe make it more personal? Sometimes, especially depending on the stage the business is in, I would say what is eating most businesses sometimes would be growing too fast. Where, I've realized clients are asking for a certain product if you're maybe in the product business, or if it's a service, probably you need equipment to run a few things, so you over-invest. And now just to bring it home, I think that has been one of the biggest mistakes, where you realize, by the way, I'm paying too much for transport, so why not buy a truck? And then the truck comes and you're like, it's demanding. So I would say growing too fast sometimes for most businesses definitely kills the cash flow.
You know, you've said about product. Nikakumbuka saa ingine customers unajua wanapenda kuitisha vitu zenye hakuna. That thing that is not in stock. And as an entrepreneur, if you're not very firm about what you're selling, useme by the way siuzangi, because kila time wanaulizanga. I like making a joke about our breastfeeding bras. It was the conversation. Leteni breastfeeding. Sai, hakuna stock imelala kama breastfeeding.
Uko serious?
Yes, because watu wangapi wana breast? How many mothers?
Not so many.
Yes. And when they are, sengine tu kwa nyumba bila hizo bra. So, and you see, now that one already lalisha
pesa.
And I think if cash flow is king, then just stock the fastest moving products. What do you think about that?
I totally agree with that. Maybe it's a mistake most people do. Sometimes, even without doing your market research, and even you knowing your business way better than probably the customer, you end up buying things in the hope that they would move. In the hope they will move. So as you said, kama hiyo ya breastfeeding bras, you buy something and you buy a lot because you're sure it's gonna sell out. But we mwenyewe, you've not probably sometimes done your research. You've not done maybe you've not asked around and surveyed enough. So sometimes that is very disappointing. Mimi tulilearn the hard way. Utalalisha pesa. So you're right. Stock up maybe the fast moving product for your business, even as you're doing your survey.
I think bad products, that would be one of the things that is eating our cash flow. The wrong products. Na dead stock. But unajua me have one rule about dead stock. Me I'd rather sell it na hasara kuliko nionange.
Sorry, I laughed.
Kuna time unakanga unaona mzigo, unajiambia hii ni millions kadhaa that is asleep. It needs to get out. And I need cash flow. Because stocking up unnecessary things, ndio unaambia customer nakwambia, na hii skirt mungeleta ya hii design.
Ama hii color.
So sometimes I tell the ladies, I ask them how many people have asked. 2 people only in a span of how long? It means it doesn't have demand. It is somebody's preference. Why am I doing that to my cash flow?
You're hurting it.
I'm hurting my cash flow. Inaumia. Cash flow or profit for you?
Cash flow. I've learned that with time, because profit will not pay your expenses at the end of the day. So sometimes we've had like a very profitable deal, but then it's taken a bit of time to be paid. Sawa? So you end up not paying some bills on time because you don't have cash in hand. So for me, cash in hand sometimes over profit. Definitely.
For you guys, cash in hand is important. We cannot ignore that employees and hiring can also mess up your cash flow.
Definitely.
Kwanza unajua, the other day I was talking to my HR and I was telling her, I personally don't like underpaying people. I feel like when money is coming, people need to be paid well.
Yeah.
So starting out, or when the business was good, I was paying a lot, and then biashara ikiwa chini na juzi, and these people I'm paying them a lot of money because business is down.
Yes.
So can we discuss about hiring? And then you start feeling there's need for this service, there's need for this service.
Right.
Yes, because the money is coming in, the work is a lot. How can hiring mess up your cash flow?
Well, overstaffing, I think that's what I'd call it, can really mess you up, because this is an overhead that is recurrent. So you have to pay salaries every end of the month, regardless of whether you're doing well or not. So one of the things we have learned the hard way again, especially with time, there's a time now we had, in-house everything. You don't want to outsource these services, and that really messed us up, because sometimes, of course, you're maybe foreseeing a need. It's not really there, but you're like, by then there are people asking about this and this. How about we hire this and this and this, and overhiring? If you can avoid that as a business owner, please avoid it at all costs. The things you can outsource, if it's a service you can outsource because it's not recurrent, because that will really mess up your cash flow in the long run. To be learned the hard way.
Something else that cannot be ignored when it comes to small business owners, also suppliers, but for small business owners, most of them import from China. I'm going to give you guys a hack, and I think I keep discussing this with a friend of mine. Tunasemanga hivi, mzigo kama ya C inakaa sana. If it's delaying, what you do, you bring a small batch via air. Hata kama ya air, the margin will be kidogo, it will still protect your cash flow, because that is the most important thing.
Yes.
If the C1 is taking 40 days plus, inaharibu cash flow. We ambia tu supplier, hizi 100 pieces tuma via C, 10 pieces ama 20 pieces nitumie via air, ikujange, even though the margin profit will be small, but it will be able to maintain the cash flow in the business.
Right.
That is a very good hack when it comes to suppliers for small businesses. For you guys, supplier for big businesses.
So what we have learned is, especially if the product or whatever it is you need needs a lot of money, know how to talk to your suppliers by asking for credit. In that, you're paid a certain amount of money. The supplier can agree, because that's the kind of terms we have with most of our suppliers. You pay them over a period of time. This allows you to manage your cash flow, because, for example, if it's a project you've already you've done it, you finished it, and then now you pay the supplier later, so that way you don't have a cash strain. So that has definitely helped. Good relationship with your suppliers, extremely important.
It's very important.
Extremely.
Okay. Na kuibiwa kwa duka, because I feel we also miss out on that. That ile inakuanga costs zingine ndogo ndogo. Do you think we can be able to curb theft at work and small businesses, or is it something you should put it as a cost as an employer? Personally, I feel like you cannot curb it 100%, but you can always try your best. Yes.
You're definitely right, Vic. I would say it's sometimes very hard to make sure you're not, like, in terms of losses that comes from, maybe, should I call it mishandling, or maybe your staff taking, maybe if it's a product or something, it's hard to make sure it's at 100%. But what I have learned is that systems really help. So stocks, if it's a stock, user point, zimeingia kiasi gani, like what amount of product have you brought into the business? How are we selling? So some people run away from systems, but I would promise you they will save you a great deal of losses. As much as it's hard, and also so what we have learned the hard way is also getting a team that you trust. because we were messed up a bit last year. So having a team you can trust, I think I would always choose someone I trust versus someone who is has a skill and can be trained with time. So definitely working with a team you trust and also putting your systems in check.
Please,
Yes.
I think for me, when it comes to a team you trust, what I have learned is, so what works when it comes to stock take, I feel stock take is very important to get an external independent person. Yes. You'd rather have that person come once per week and just do random stock take.
Right.
I feel like it really helps.
Okay.
An external person who's not their friend, because sometimes eventually the team usually knows how to do things. And even in their way. But to maintain your stock, you can just look for an external person to come in time to time and check the stock.
I love that.
And you find that cost you're avoiding for the external person is the same money na potelelea, or even less. Yes. Compared to modern African woman and fine wood, what is the difference in the cash flow?
Okay, so modern African woman, I sell gifts, and for fine wood, it's just the service, mostly construction. So the difference in terms of cash flow, I would say, of course, the service business, being fine wood, has more cash flow, has better cash flow in terms of numbers compared to modern African woman, which is a product. So I don't know if I understood the question in terms of
which one is easy to maintain cash flow, because modern African was not really big money
Yes.
which one is easier to maintain? And maybe
which one is easier to maintain? I'd say fine wood, because of, again, accountability. I'm just laughing because it's something we talked about earlier. In that, before I take money out of the business, I have to consult with my partner. But for modern African woman, kuchuna, I used to take money, and because you're not accountable to someone, you can take it, go shopping, you can take it, do something else. So I would say fine wood, one, because of course, numbers. It's there's better cash flow compared to modern African woman. Yes.
Expansion very early is one of the things you've mentioned. We've also talked about products, the wrong products, loans. Can we also discuss that?
Yes, let's talk about
I think loans mess up people in small businesses.
Proper.
And I think it's because we don't calculate the interest na hesabu. Me, I used to be very funny when it comes to taking loans for business. Nilikuwa najiambia hii mzigo, hii loan nimepewa ni ya 100,000, si ndio? Nafaa nirudishe kama 150,000. Alafu hii mzigo ya 100,000 nikinunua inanipea 200,000. Kumaanisha nimepewa 50,000 for free. Unajua ni calculation ya upuzi?
Sana. Okay, si sana. Sorry. That was too blunt. Sorry.
Yes. How can small business owners take loans wisely?
Okay. So first of all, I'd start by saying loans are very important if you want to grow in any business whatsoever. However, sometimes it makes sense to do some sort of math, like looking at it, how much am I making from this? Because it needs to help you as much as it's helping the facility, like the bank. So you need to really calculate, look at what you're getting out of it before you even start. But it's very important for even any small business to somewhat think about. But if you can avoid loans while starting, if the cash flow is okay and you're growing steady, please avoid. Because the interest rates are actually sometimes a bit high. But if you've gotten to that point where now you need to grow, weigh your options, look at the interest rates for different banks. I always recommend the SACCO because the interest rate is slightly favorable, and also the repayment term is better.
Yeah.
So you need to look at it, but don't be afraid of loans. Loans are what help a business grow, but you have to use the money well, and it has to make sense for you first. Yes.
I'm curious to know, because I feel like modern money, there was a modern African woman.
Yeah,
it was making money. Why have you never thought, you know what, this business needs a shop? Yes.
So one of the things for any business I feel is very necessary, it's looking at what you're investing and avoiding repeated overhead. You like overhead costs.
Yeah.
If you can keep them at a minimal, like very minimal, the better. So for Modern African Woman Gifts, it is an online gift shop. So meaning I used to operate most of the time from home.
Yes.
So that saves you rent.
Yes.
It saves you in terms of salaries. You don't have to have too many people you have employed, as long as you figured it out.
Yes.
So for me, that was the number one thing. I wanted to save as much as possible and just keep the cash. Because when it comes to cash flow, it's about how much you get to keep. How much more do you get to keep? Yes. So for me, that was definitely a win. And it's helped. It made money even being online. Yes. So I have never, well, now I am considering, because we are growing slowly. But in the initial stages, online worked for me. Yes.
There's something you've mentioned about there was like the lorry for carrying things when it comes to fine wood that you guys were delegating. And then you decided wacha tununue yetu, maybe we'll save the money. And then you realize, okay, this is another expense.
Right.
You realize that.
Yes.
But until somebody understands the value chain is when now you choose which business to. You want to be in the business of transport or making kitchens.
Right.
You have to understand the value chain.
Yes.
Is there a mistake you feel like you have done over time for business that you feel like, I wish this I could have just delegated, but now I'm into this?
Hey. See that thing for growing too fast?
Yes.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah.
Especially now for businesses that have, like you're receiving a lot of money. The client is paying some good money, so sometimes you end up thinking it's going to be like that forever. There's that, and you want independence too fast for that small business.
Yes.
So we bought machines, and of course we were like, we want to do it by ourselves so that the turnaround time is better. We want to buy as many things as possible for the business, just to be fully independent. But that is something now, my wife and I now talk about it and we laugh about it. We're like, if we were to do this again, there are things we would probably outsource. We would definitely outsource. Like for the machine, unless you're cutting for apartments or your own projects, now the market is flooded. And it's a mistake that people are continuously doing.
Yes.
What we don't realize is that with technology, after some time, those machines phased out.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Yeah.
Things like the lorry, we had anticipated, like we'll be doing things like transporting things. At that particular time, we used to get clients out of Nairobi a lot. But then, with time, you realize, now we are getting clients within Nairobi because the market is unpredictable. So I wish sometimes we had taken time to invest in the lorry. I mean, to buy the lorry, because it would have saved us a bit of cash flow. Yes. But also, it's a learning mistake that we don't want you to make, right?
Yeah. Okay. Let's summarize this again. I like us going through. The first one, we said expansion too fast is what messes up your cash flow. Number 2, buying the wrong products.
Yes.
Number 3, loans, you have to be very careful. And number 4, if you can outsource or delegate, do so to protect your cash flow.
Right.
Yes. Right. With Paris, we were saying, venye mtu akienda China, everything is, yani unaonanga unaweza uza kila kitu. And we realize one thing that messes up your cash flow is diversifying of
income of business.
Yes. Let's get into it.
Hey, so I was just telling B, how when we went to China, you start getting all these ideas, and you're like, oh, baby, I can also sell this. I can also, and we even considered, and we even bought a few things.
Muliziuza maziko?
Ha. Like the problem would be like now we bought things that are not in line with what we do.
Yes.
Because you're like, oh, this is a good business.
Yeah.
Those handbags, those school bags, they will go like this. So that is some other mistake that people make, where you take money from your main business to start another business because you simply want to diversify income. It can work both ways, but in most cases sometimes you end up straining one of the business with the cash flow. But I'm also curious, because you have several businesses. How do you even do it?
I would be lying if I say at any given stage I don't strain another business. Sometimes you will strain, especially when it comes to your input in terms of work, you might strain another business. But I feel like every business I've started, it has been out of need. Yes, it has been out of need. I have felt like, I think I had mentioned that Thoutry, I started it because I had another baby.
Yes.
And I felt I needed to increase my income. TT has always been on my vision board.
Yes.
I wanted to do this for the longest time. So ijakuwa ati me chasing the next shiny thing. It has been, mine has always been a calculated, well thought of
idea
thing. Yes.
Brilliant.
But if I tell you the number of ideas I have in this head of mine, na biashara kama 20.
For real.
Sai na kama I have so many business ideas in my head. I keep saying I need to start this. But I realize I will mess up. I will mess up my cash flow badly.
Yes.
Because unazanga kuchunia ingine. I've also allowed the other businesses to grow organically zijile.
I love that.
Yes, nimeacha zijile. I've left them zijile bila kutegemea pesa ya the other ones. Yes, I didn't want to mess up the cash flow for the other ones.
You've got it right.
Yeah. Umesikiaje your work?
Imekuwa poa. Aki, I have learned a lot. This Kagal,
here you come to learn.
Walk the talk is a must for everybody.
Yes, I've also learned so much from you. And it's a different space, so you understand different perspectives.
Right.
Yes, so thank you so much for tuning to Walk the Talk. And let me just summarize the cash flow parasites. So we've said that expansion too fast, opening branches, when you've not calculated your moves, that's a parasite. Adding the wrong product. Ati juu customer amesema tukue na hii kitu, una add kwa stock, alafu unalalisha stock. Loans, you have to be very careful with them. You have to calculate them very well so that you don't mess up your cash flow. And if you have things and services that you can outsource that require you to put money, outsource them so that you're able to maintain your cash flow. Overstaffing can also be dangerous. She has said that sometimes you can staff for a need yenye haijatokea lakini unaona itatokea, so you start overstaffing. And also diversification of income. Unaona tu uanze hii biashara, so the other biashara nyonya's the other biashara's money. So those are the 6 cash flow parasites. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.